In some cases, yes. But in an area that we've really seen among customers here or players in the market is if you reduce your energy and water consumption, they
can instantly see that too, can't they?
That immediately translates into a reduction in carbon footprint. It's a very simple translation. It needs a little bit of work, and we can help with that. But that immediate savings, even if it requires a new technology, let's say it does, in either case, it does or doesn't, that translation into reduction in cost is in the interest of people today in tough times. And we simply translate it into another benefit, right? And then it comes back to the reasons we said, is there's a value in that translation of cost savings because you get a double whammy, right? And
double whammy in that you save some cost and you're doing something good for the environment.
Right. Actually, double whammy, that game show was the wrong thing, wasn't it? Whammy was bad.
It was bad, but that's okay. This is a good whammy.
You know what I meant.
I know exactly what you mean. I mean, now, this is part of the whole challenge as well, though, isn't it? In that I like to believe naively that every organization out there wants to be doing the good thing. They want to be doing the right thing. You've got, you've come from an MBA background as well. I mean, you've got an engineering background, environmental engineering. Then you went in and did an MBA at Cornell. And when I look at it, everyone wants to do the right thing, but we've got competing pressures. We've got an economic pressure, and some like to say that's the chief financial officer and the accounting department that are pointing in one direction. And then we've got what we need to do and what we should do for our environment, which ultimately sometimes is very much related to our bottom line, but it might not be as clear. You guys provide a great service in that you help people to see what they can do. They want to do something, but they don't necessarily know how they can do it or what the rationale in the long term for doing these changes are.
It's basically what specifically can we do, right? You can't just, if you turn off the lights or when you leave the room, all of these things are obvious. And
yet so many people don't do it.
That's true. But why don't they do it, right? It's a behavioral change. And until you electrocute people for making the mistake, the people will change. Now, that's kind of the extreme negative view. The extreme positive view is to say, by turning off the light when you leave the room, you contribute to our effort to battle climate change, right? And this is the EWS, relates to the Heroes of the UAE campaign, right? Where they appealed to children to take responsibility for the planet and nag their parents, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm joking.
No, but
I apologize to EWS.
That was a sense of it. Is keep talking, keep sharing, keep putting the ideas out there, and enough mud gets thrown at the wall, some of it's going to stick.
Right. So what happens is that if you then give people a carrot of save energy and battle climate change, it's that double benefit that I referred to again. And so you then motivate people to a positive reason to turn off the light, as it were, or turn off their computer over the weekend, etc. But then you have non-obvious ideas, and this is again what we try and do is help companies or small organizations or government bodies, look analytically at a problem and say, okay, what's the suite of options available, right? Solar PV. In a hotel, it might be looking at a electrolysis system to replace the use of chlorine for a swimming pool. Sounds like a small deal, but if you replace the chemical with an electricity-powered device, there's a few in Dubai that are doing that. All of these things are under the word green as well, and so we try and connect the dots, I guess, within a company or an organization.
And do you find, not that companies or organizations don't have a host of professionals in-house, but that there, many cases, companies are so close to whatever they're doing that they can't see some of the larger picture things? Is that ultimately what you find?
I think that sometimes is the case, because a great example is the engineering departments in hotels.
Yeah.
Super smart people doing really good work, and they're having trouble communicating up to management the success of what they're doing. Yes, they're saving money, and so management's happy. Yeah. Then, if you then say, well, we're actually reducing the hotel's carbon footprint, oh, that's a management issue now. Right? And I mean, it's a different management issue. And so connecting that dot is something that we think resonates with one particular sector, the leisure and tourism sector.
If you can put that carbon that you're saving, that you're helping with carbon footprint, if you can put that onto your documentation, if you can be able to certify yourself as doing these things, that's a good thing in business today, isn't it?
Yes, there's value in it. The challenge we face is you always need that person inside an organization who understands. It's a champion. I mean, it's always the case.
And is that how you end up getting called in? You've got the champion in an organization, and then they approach you guys and say, "Okay, we need your help."
We go in and we tell them what we've done.
Are they surprised? Are people when
I think that I'm always surprised, actually, in the sense that I'm surprised by how much is happening here that's environmentally good.
Because we often think of the UAE as, I don't want to cast any negative dispersion, but that we're not necessarily the most environmentally friendly lot here.
No, carbon footprint 44 tons per capita. It's second in the world behind, or second or third depending on whose numbers. It's twice what it is the UK and the US, and you can split that number up into different sectors, and there's a number of drivers of that. Yes. Yeah. From that perspective, we're quote-unquote bad, but the efforts to reduce that number are, in my experience in the last 2 years with EcoVentures, more aggressive than I would have expected. You see, I think that number will go down faster than people think.
Which is real testament to what we're doing here, and that people do care.
Some
people do care.
I can't say that
it's not across the board, but it's do you find in the last couple of years that the number of people who are buying into that we need to care about this is a part of our business is becoming stronger?
Well, that's back to that awareness interest. Yeah. I would say yes, but they're still in the interest stage, right? That
what's going to be the tipping point for people to go from interest to action? Do you think you're in the field? You're a business guy as well.
Okay. Whenever people say legislation is typically the answer to that question, and I don't like that because
it's more regulation.
When people feel regulated, they do it out of obligation.
Then they look to cheat it. I mean, don't you find
that's right, and gaming the system happens. I think that when there is I think the tipping point will be the United States setting up a cap-and-trade system for carbon credits, because that will create a huge demand for carbon credits from the Gulf countries. That's a specific tipping point, which I think will happen in the short run. And
that's something that Obama's talked about.
There's legislation actually being considered, a number of different versions by the U.S. Congress. But as responsible for 25% of the world's carbon emissions, once the U.S. sets up such a system, it will create a large demand. So entities in the UAE looking to do industrials mainly, looking to do aggressive emissions reductions, like DIWA, like Advia, Masdar++, they'll really put money into it, and then individual corporations will follow suit.
How do people get in touch with you if they want to find out more about what you guys are doing and have a conversation?
Our website, www.ecoventures.ae. If you go to .com, it will be a nonprofit in Washington, so it's ecoventures.ae.
And all the contacts
contacts are on there. And I think we're pretty responsive.